Let's talk about credit, baby. What it should and should not be. Let's talk about all the good things we can see once our credit score increase. Let's talk about credit, baby. What's up, my YouTube besties? It is your girl Lysandra with Everything Lysandra, and as you can see, today's video we're going to be talking about credit, specifically how to correctly pay your credit card bill and increase your credit score. Now I know y'all like, duh, Lysandra, you pay it by the due date. Well, sorta, kinda, maybe, but let's talk about it and let's see. Okay, so as you know, if you have a credit card, the credit card company do send you a credit card statement or a bill. And on that bill, they will have a due date on there. But if you are in the process of credit building and you are trying to raise your credit score, that due date may not necessarily be the actual date that you need to actually pay attention to. All right? Stay with me. Stay focused. There actually is a more important due date that you actually need to be paying attention to. That's the date that you're actually going to make sure that you're paying your bill. Now, on your credit card statement bill, there is something on there that might say closing date, or it might say statement closing date, or it might just say statement date. Each credit card company says different things on their credit card bill. That is the date that we're actually going to be talking today about. That's the date that you actually should be focusing on, as well as what date actually is showing on your credit report. Now, so on your credit card bill statement that you get every month from your credit card company, they put a due date on there. And normally you would think, oh, okay, then I'll just pay my bill, make sure I make my minimum payment, or I pay my bill on that date. But before you do that, you want to stop and you actually want to take a look at two other dates just to make sure that you're actually paying it on the correct date. Because the date that we're about to talk about today is the actual date that's going to help you in raising and increasing your credit score. Okay, so let's take a look of a statement of mine. This is my credit builder account with Self Lender. I've already talked about this company. I put a video right here of the video. You can go back and watch. It is a very good company if you're in the process of trying to do credit building and increase your score. And then I'll also put the link to it down in the description box. Now, on this statement, it says payment due date March the 4th. Now, normally we've been taught, oh, okay, then I'll just make sure that I make my minimum payment, or I'll pay my bill by March the 4th. But that's actually not the date that we actually need to be paying attention to. If you go on over here, you'll see now it says statement closing date, February the 7th. Now that's the date that you're actually should be making sure that you're making your minimum payment or paying your bill by. But in this instance, I'm going to show you two credit card statements. So I did notice that for my credit card building account, it says February the 7th of 2023. So I was making sure that I was making my payment by February the 7th, but I noticed that on my credit report, that's not the date that it was actually reporting my correct balance that I wanted it to report. So that's why I'm telling you that you have to pay attention to your statement closing date that's on your credit card bill statement, and I need you and want you to go to your actual credit report. Now if you take a look here, now on my credit report it says last reported January 31st of 2023. That is the date that you actually should be making sure that you are either paying your credit card bill statement in full, or at least paying so much of the balance where your credit utilization is at a certain percentage, which we're going to talk about that as well. All right. So again, this is only for my credit builder account. Is where I noticed that my statement closing date and then the date that it actually reports to the credit bureaus were different. So that's why I want you all to pay attention to your statement closing date and what the credit report is showing from the credit bureaus. Okay, are you following me? Okay, so let's take a look at another one of my credit card statements. This is just a regular credit card that I have with a company, and as you can see, it says payment due date March the 11th. And then when you go over here to my statement closing date, it says February the 15th. So that's the date that I actually want to make sure that I'm paying my credit card bill in full, or at least paying it down to a certain balance where my credit utilization is between me. We're going to talk about that later, but generally they say less than, or at least less than 30%. Okay, but as you can see, my due date is on the 11th, but my closing date is on the 15th. So for this credit card statement, I'm actually good. I'm making sure that I pay my bill on the 11th of each month. Now, it's not always like this. Okay, that's why I want you all to make sure that you're paying attention to what your statement closing date says on your credit card statement bill and what it says on the credit report. Now, that same card that I just showed you all that says my closing date was on February the 15th. And if you go to go to your credit report, you will see it says last reported February the 15th. That's why it's very important that you pay attention to these two dates. So again, let's recap. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to your statement closing date, not the due date. And then you want to make sure that your statement closing date matches the actual date that it says it was being reported to your credit bureau. Okay, so why am I telling you all of this? It is because credit utilization, how much you total owe on your balances, is the second most important factor to your credit score. How much you owe counts as 30% when it comes to calculating your credit score. And you want to try to keep those balances below 30%. The lower you can get that under 30%, the better that your credit score would love you. So let's talk a little bit more about credit utilization. Now, generally, the general statement is to at least get your credit utilization under 30% when it comes to your credit cards. Now, that is a start. And in order for you to calculate that, all you do, you just add up the total amount balances of your credit cards, and you divide it by your total amount of your credit limit, and then that's how you get your credit utilization ratio. And if it is over 30%, then that is definitely affecting your credit score in a negative way. Now, again, if you're not able right now to get it less than 30%, that is fine. I understand. I've been there. What I did, I first started, my first goal was, okay, let me get my balances down to 30% at least. And so what I did, I just calculated whichever credit cards that I needed to get down under that amount. I took it and I just kind of did some little calculations to try to see, okay, how much money would I need, or how much of my balance would I need to get paid in order for me to get below this 30%. And then when I did my budget each month for all my bills and my expenses, then I figured out, okay, how to get that amount paid so that my utilization could be under 30%. So don't try, if you're not able to pay it all at once or get your utilization down under 30%, just take baby steps. You know, it took you years and years to to make and compile all of this debt that you now have that's affecting your credit score. And it's also going to take patience and time to get your credit score where you need to be at. Okay, so first goal again is to try to get your utilizations for all of your credit cards that you may have down to 30%. Okay, so then once you get your credit utilization down to 30%, don't stop there, okay? Now your next goal was, or for me, it was, okay, now let me get my credit utilization down to under 10%, because that's where you're really going to start seeing even more success when it comes to your credit score. And then once you make it to that 10%, then your next goal should be to at least get your credit utilization and to keep it between 1% and 3%. Okay, so again, your first goal should be to try to get your utilization down to at least 30%. After that, you want to get it down to at least 10% and get it into the single digits. And then if you want to be like the really successful credit score people in the 800s, high 700s and 800s, then you want to keep your credit utilizations ratio down to 1% and 3%. Now y'all be like, well, Sandra, I can't pay all that right now. Look, I got this debt, we got inflation, recession, all this stuff going on. I feel you. Again, I was not able to just whoosh and get all my balances down to the 1% and 3% like that. So I am going to also talk to you to my next thing I want to talk to you about is paying down your credit card balances, your credit card debt. Now, you can either do it two ways. You can either take a look at all your credit cards that you're trying to pay your balances down on, and you can either start with the one that has the lowest balance, or you can start with the one that's actually charging you the most interest rate. Now, do whatever is best for you and your household. For me, it was starting with the credit card that had the lowest balance, because I want to be motivated and I want to be inspired and see, okay, that I want to actually see it physically, that I'm actually making a difference or making a dip into my goal. So as opposed to if I'm owing $5,000 and I can barely make the minimum payment on it, or even make 20, 50 or whatever dollars more, it's going to take me longer to get that balance paid completely off. So for me, I started with the one with the lowest balance. And so what I did was, instead of just making the minimum payment on that one, I tried to come up with ways, whether it was cutting down, getting some ice cream or getting some seafood. Maybe I don't go get my nails or my feet done this month. Instead, I might do it at home. Whatever it is, whatever that you have to do. I'm not saying neglect yourself. I'm just saying make some sacrifices. You're going to have to choose and say, okay, what's really important to me? It could be little things as not going to McDonald's or Wendy's, because those fast food restaurants eating there can add up. And so if I was able to make, or any money that I got extra, any money I may have been blessed with, I would take that money and put it towards the credit card balance that I'm actually trying to get paid off. Okay, so let's say you have more, let's say you have 2 credit cards. Just make it simple. All right, I'm going to start with the one that has the lowest balance. So I'm going to make my minimum payment plus extra on that particular one, because that's the one I'm trying to go ahead and get paid off. And at the same time, on the second one, I'm not going to so much focus on trying to get it all paid off right now, but I am going to keep paying my minimal balance on it so that I can stay in good standing. Okay, and any extra money that I get is going to go all towards this one credit card balance that I'm trying to get paid off first. Okay, once I get that one credit card bill paid off, then that means that I no longer have a balance. I no longer have to pay a monthly payment or a monthly minimum payment as I was paying before. So all that money that I was currently paying on that credit card, I'm now going to transfer that money and pay it now on this credit card, plus the minimum balance that I was already paying. And then I'm going to apply all of that money to that credit card every month until it is paid off. Right? And then I'm not going to go put a whole bunch of other stuff on this other credit card that I've already paid off. But what I am going to do is take something very small, like maybe a Netflix subscription that I'm already paying for every month. Maybe Hulu. Something very small that I normally pay for every month anyway. It's the only thing that I'm going to have charging to this particular credit card. So that way it is showing that I am using it. And then we're going to pay that balance off that we owe, that very small balance that we owe, by the statement closing date, as long as it matches the reporting date that goes to the credit bureau. Are y'all following me? And then once I have this credit card finally paid off, then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm either gonna put something small on it every month, or I won't use it, and I'll just make sure I use it, at least use it every 3 months. So that way, because if you unfortunately, to have good credit, you have to have debt, some type of form of debt. But now that you are focusing and learning and educating yourself, then you know, okay, then instead of me putting a high debt on my credit cards, I'm just going to keep it a low debt, you know, sort of like finessing the game, the credit card game. So that way I am benefiting from it, and it's still helping my credit score. Okay, so I hope y'all follow me. I hope I haven't confused y'all and that you understand me. I'm trying to explain this as simple as possible, as can be. And then once you get both of those credit cards paid off, then now all that money that you was using towards those credit cards, now you can take that same money and put towards another debt or something else that you may owe and may need to get paid off, towards being debt free. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap before we end this video. Instead of the due date, we're going to look at our statement closing date instead to make our credit card payments. We're going to make sure that that closing statement date matches also the same date as the report date on my credit report. If it does not, then we're going to go by the report date that's on our credit report. That's the date that we're going to make sure that we make our payment on our credit card bill. And we want to make sure that our balance is as low as possible, because on that particular day that's being reported to the credit bureau is what's going to count towards your credit score. Again, your first goal is going to be to at least get it to at least under 30%. Your next goal should be at least less than 10%. And then your next goal and final goal after that should be between 1 and 3%, and keep it like that. Especially if you're in the process of credit repairing and credit rebuilding. try to, as possible, keep that credit balance under 30%, less than 10%, or between the 1 to 3% range. And I guarantee you, you will start seeing, if you constantly keep doing that, you will start seeing success in your credit score, just based off of that. This is as simple as it gets, and it works because I've did it, I've done it, and my credit score has definitely increased and changed, all because, one, I made sure that I was making on-time payments from now on. My payment history was counted as 35% of my credit score. And then two, I educated myself on the credit utilization with my credit cards, and I started using it towards my benefit with credit building and keeping my utilization now between 1% and 3%. Okay. I also did some sacrifices. I'm trying to find money, find ways, you know, to pay down those debt. Now, we always say, well, I don't have no money. You know, times is already hard. I got to buy food, and I get it. I understand it. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I also know that let us see something that's on sale, we're going to figure out some kind of way. We're going to be twirling in our heads some kind of way, trying to figure out how is it that we can get it. Don't let us say after-pay or Klarna. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah, I can make payments. Oh, okay, then I'm going to come up with this $15 to $30 or whatever it may be for the first payment. So, and then I'm going to make payments on it. But the type of mind frame you also have to be towards trying to pay down your credit card debt. Because I promise you, it will help increase your credit score, okay? Okay, my YouTube besties, that is it for my video today. I pray that I was able to give you some credit news that you can use. Don't give up. Keep going. I promise you it will be worth it all in the end. For all of my credit videos, it's going to be in my playlist. It's going to be called Everything Credit. And until my next video, stay blessed, be blessed, do something kind for yourself and someone else. And we are out of here. Let's talk about credit, baby. What it should be and should not be. Let's talk about all the benefits we can see if our score increase. Let's talk about credit, baby. Bye.